Greetings, blessings, salutations, and love once again. Welcome back to Chats with Jack. I am Jack Talcott, and happy Monday to you. It's what it is where I'm at, Monday afternoon on the New Year's Day, starting out 2024. Are things different? Who knows? We'll see what happens today. Unfortunately, whatever it is, just an observation of the facts. I'm not coming forth today with uh, no magic tricks, nothing special prepared, but some genuine, authentic time, hoping, hoping at this time of human history and this time in the path of my own life. Hoping that today the live stream will allow me to share some perspective, some words, maybe some wisdom that might help brighten your day, whoever it is you are, whoever's streaming, uh, signing in, stumbling through, whatever, whoever's joining, all of you guys, thank you. Thank you all for joining, sincerely. It is my prayer that we in this life, we all grow in our own ways to become more of a blessing to those around us. That's my sincere hope for myself. I hope to brighten the days of the experiences for those who, I join their journey. I hope to share a little light and encouragement for others. Genuinely, deep down, I think we all want that. We lose sight of it in this crazy, crazy conflicted world we were born into. I mean, I only know the perspective of a white American man, right? Honestly, it's the only life I've lived. But I've listened to others. I've paid attention. And I've learned a lot from other people who are like me, but different than me. I mean, that's what this world is. We're a melting pot of all these different species and organisms, plant and animal, um, insects. We got all sorts of stuff here on Earth. And then if you narrow it down to just the people, holy cows, man, people, they come in all sorts of different varieties, colors, shapes, intentions, holy cows. And then you get into what different people believe, some of the things that they think. Holy cows, man. Praise God. Praise God that we get to be people. I mean, it's kind of a cool experience if you don't look at it as a bad thing. Being able to see the experience as a person. But what does it mean to be a person, a human being, a man or a woman, boy or a girl? What does all that stuff mean? I mean, does it really make a difference? I mean, I know it does, but it doesn't. Because in the end, we are just the same thing. We're human forms having the conscious experience, the awareness of life being shared together. Happy New Year, Talcott Express. Blessings to you, man. YouTube mayor. I don't know if I'd even want that position, dude. Have you seen the people on YouTube? Kind of crazy. Hey, here's an exception. A man who's been a wonderful friend and a kind influence with me. Welcome, Henry, the producer. Good to see you, brother. Happy New Year.
Very happy New Year to you, Jack. I
How's,
just came. I just came to say hi. I'm so glad you're online. Not too late. It's midnight in the UK. So yeah, very happy New Year.
well, blessings. Thanks for staying up late or catching me. Um, I the day kind of got away from me a little bit, and so I'm and I'm so mixed. I gotta be honest. eh, Some days I'm having trouble finding the motivation, right? And then not just where within me, what's my motivation to keep doing what I'm doing, or how do I find the inspiration to change directions?
Define change directions. What do you want to move towards?
Well, my intention my intention has been to become more fit, right? Actually turn my attention and my energy back to my fitness, my diet and exercise, doing a better job of that. And I know I can be a lot more organized and tidy. um, but those things haven't been happening either. So I've been seeing, I hate admitting this because I know how many critics I've got, but I'm an honest man and this is my journey. Um, I've been seeing myself get lazy in ways that I know I don't need to be.
Well, it's a perfect time to contemplate on it. First of 2024. You know,
Yes,
the amount of stuff that's happening in the world in the last year has been unprecedented. It's been a year of for geopolitics nerds to have their fill. A lot of people suffering, a lot of wars springing up. You know, um, what you can control, in your own domain. Uh, Sometimes it's nice to try and improve what's around you instead of losing your head in things that you can't control overseas.
true. That is true. I don't know. This life has become, I've stopped taking a lot of things seriously that I used to take seriously. And I've learned how to relax. I've learned how to be comfortable. And that's been a new thing for me. But I mean, my life changed. It's been been a very interesting past several years for me. And so I'm still trying to figure out what is the direction? Where do I grow? What what do I point my attention to? And you brought up the good point. Focusing on the reality that we can control what's in our life and what's around us. So I can work on improving what is immediately around me, which is what I should be doing.
What's the itinerary for today? Well,
Um, well, today again, I went to bed last night with intentions of doing starting a new routine today, but I didn't. um, my itinerary for the stream today is really just to kind of go with the flow and see what joins there's been some regular people in the past here online that I've had trouble communicating with, and I have different ideas and strategies again. So I'm just kind of playing it here.
Hmm.
I hate to admit that, but that's what I on the stream today. Well, see, and this is another thing. I had I had actually been preparing myself mentally to take some time off from the streaming for the purposes of writing. And now today those plans kind of changed too. So sorry, I've been going on and on. Hey, your year, Henry. Uh, what do you think from your own past? What was the greatest growth or development for yourself last year? Was that your child? Or
Um, I
one
mean,
of the
yeah, that was a the arrival of number two was huge. Um, it's like there are so many things in life that you can prioritize against other things. Put something on the back burner, make something more important. But then when a baby arrives, nothing survives. It's it's like it's the cargo ship that just plows into the harbor, and the jetties, you know, splinter and people go running, and nothing's the same.
no,
You
never
know,
the same again.
so renegotiated my contract with my work, so I'm working less. Um, and yeah, I'm trying to prioritize everything else, failing miserably at keeping everybody happy. Family, work, extracurriculars. Um, Everyone's mad, but the baby's healthy, the family's okay. So that's how we're gonna do
You're succeeding, my brother. Good job.
it.
I mean, the baby's healthy, the family is healthy. That
Yep.
truly is the most important thing. Um, and yeah, trying to please everyone and their expectations can be pretty tough. It really can. I know that feeling well.
Yeah,
But
because
well,
sometimes they're right. You know,
yes,
sometimes they have valid things to say.
you are absolutely right. And here, Jay, it's thank you for the question. I don't know what I'm going to do. I have relapsed in my efforts. I kind of stopped pushing myself to quit, and I've just been allowing myself to continue for a little bit. The chewing is one of the things that is right up on my list of its things. I know there's all this logic and reasoning, especially considering the path I've chosen for myself. There's all these reasons for me to quit. I I've been lacking the motivation, man.
Wait, was chewing tobacco something that you're doing?
Yes.
Oh, well, last year I took up smoking cigars. So every month I have a Cuban cigar, no joke.
Good for
Um,
you.
and it's one of the highlights of life at the moment, having 2 hours by myself, usually outside, with a lovely cigar. What's better? Nothing's better than that.
I never got into the cigars, but nicotine has been a part of my life since I was 15 years old. So that
Mm.
was 1988. I started chewing. That's a long friggin' time.
Who's this? Hey Hank, how's it going?
Let's go. Okay.
Nice to meet you.
Yep. Is
um,
that picture this one?
yeah. So your life did truly transform again last year.
Yeah,
What-
I miss YouTube as well. I miss live content. I miss helping people grow online. I miss designing thumbnails and editing and having an audience. Yeah, so I miss all that. That's been completely gone most of last year.
Is it from a lack of time or lack of opportunity, or
No,
both?
no, lack of time, completely lack of time.
Okay.
There are YouTubers who I found last year who I would like to help, but I wouldn't be able to commit 10 seconds to them in any meaningful way.
Hey, you know what? I understand that. And right now, that's your priority. The family, supporting the newborn, the wife, the family. And it sounds like good for you if the work was you were able to renegotiate with the work and accommodate a little better for the new patterns. Eventually things will settle down again, and you'll get back to doing those other things, doing the other things you love, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. What did you bring up here, Hank?
Oh, I just lost to you in a poll on Paul and Slave show. You actually beat me 60-40 in the bangability poll. So I'm here to concede because I do not want a insurrection to happen on my watch.
Oh, I'm happy to concede.
No, I already conceded. I mean, it's just you beat me 60-40.
That's funny. Thanks, Hank. I knew better, but I tuned in for a little bit earlier, and I heard some of the conversations. The poll was, I don't know how I felt. I didn't want to lose, but I didn't want to win either.
You lost at losing. You won.
I lost at losing. You're right. Oh well. Life is interesting and fascinating. Those characters over there, my friend, they don't always know what they're talking about. And I assure you, many of the things that have been said about me, many of the things that are said about me have been fascinating. See, like apparently, allegedly, whoever this everyone is, because I don't know that everyone is calling me a Luciferian. I know there's some confused who don't know what words mean and don't know what is real. Dude, I voted for me. I love banging me. Too funny. So future thinking, ideas, aspirations, inspirations, plans. Henry?
I've just opened a stack of mail, which has been sitting here for about 2 months. It's a lot of financial stuff. So I'm going to make some phone calls in the next few days and try and rescue what's left of my credit score.
Hey, good for you. If you can laugh about it, you're doing good.
Yeah.
I can imagine and understand, but have faith and hope, even in the deep, tiny little darkness. Things can change, right? These credit scores. That's another topic. I've talked about that before. I want to overcome all this nonsense of ratings and debts and all this crap.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fully in the other camp of not subscribing to fiat currencies, and I'm very pro Bitcoin, but that's all a long way away. The world's going to slowly shift onto taking custody of your own wealth and not relying on inflated currencies, that kind of thing.
Well, brother, I don't know how, and I don't know if I'm right or wrong, but I know I want to be a part of changing the whole world. So the transition of economy, that stuff is happening. There's a lot of changes happening in the markets and in the in the agendas, let's say. And not to change the subject, but Hank, welcome, brother. We were talking about 23 and 24. What was the greatest growth or transformation for you in 23?
Greatest growth is I started going onto panels on a regular basis so I can collect more data.
You do have an analytical mind. It's very strong. And
Collect data for what?
So I have like social issues, but shrinks always lie to me because they want more money, so they don't get to the point. So I just stop trusting them and try to just figure stuff out on my own.
we're
Shrinks,
all on the
by shrinks, I mean counselors, whatever. Counselors, whatever, social workers, they all lie to me too, or they just don't know anything at all. So I've just come out in the field and figured out stuff on my own right now, and that's what Streamyard. I think Streamyard for the a great majority doing a majority of the heavy lifting for me.
So, do you know what it is you're seeking? What you want to know?
So it looks like I'm creepy because I lost to you and on Paul's show, so I must be creepy. So I just need to figure out what to do now. I guess lean into it and hopefully someone just doesn't care.
Where did? Sorry, Jack. On you
go. No, please go ahead, Henry.
Hank, what led you to speak to shrinks? Was it to explore neurodivergence, or was it to explore personality disorder, or was that something? Did people suggest you did?
It's all that stuff. It's all that stuff. The society isn't the way of society isn't going my way, so they just tell you go talk to shrinks. So I tried it, and I really didn't get too much from it.
What did they say?
They said you're an autist. Just be yourself.
And that doesn't work.
Not for me.
All right. Well, Henry, I appreciate the question you asked. That's really, and Hank, I like you. You're very authentic. And you're an interesting character. You're an interesting man. That fascinates me in a good way. The idea of going to the shrinks, and you saw that and some of the social workers, some of the people trying to help you live and adapt, right, to thrive, they didn't always know what they were talking about. That part could be true, right? Now, some of them lying, possibly people, I mean, especially in this day and age, and especially within these jobs where they're looked at as some sort of authority or responsibility, people will sometimes lie. It's part of this nature. I might be able to help, but I don't know if I can. And what I'm considering is what the advice you received without knowing details or context, obviously, right? That you got to learn to be comfortable being you, just be authentically you. That's true. I don't think many of us know what that means or how to be authentic and comfortable. Or, I don't know. We've all got our different little stumbling blocks. I don't know.
It seems like a lot of people can just get by in their herd animal style loops because they're run by a bunch of clones of themselves. So even if they aren't authentic or comfortable, it's normal enough, so it works. But that's just my outside observation. Because I mean, there's a whole bunch of people on panel that are just drug addicts that coupled up.
I'm not sure I followed the connection there between the panel and
If addicts are coupled up, I mean, today addicts are not just healthy, then there's a problem with the model.
if you're referring to the model of our society,
Yeah,
there's
if,
problems.
if addicts have a really easy time getting coupled up, and we call that them not healthy, then something's off about our model.
Hey, your observations are true. I'm not sure I'm following you completely, Hank, to be honest, but your observations about the unhealthy model of this world where unhealthy people somehow match up and they enable each other, is that what you're getting at?
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
You're right. This is what I realized what had been my own problem in the past, and it's the greater problem of our society. Enabling. People aren't honest with each other, and then habits and bad behavior problems are enabled. That's why we've got the government we've got and the economic system we've got. Unfortunately, at some point, we do each individually, we need to accept responsibility for enabling our own misery, enabling our own suffering, enabling our own, lack of success, lack of love. We've got to accept responsibility that we enable ourselves and each other when we're not honest with ourselves. I hope that makes sense.
Can I ask you a question, Hank?
You just did. Ask another one, please.
Oh, that's sharp. Is it fair to say that what you're saying, maybe, is that society doesn't reward people for being authentic? It rewards
Affirmative.
People okay.
Affirmative.
That's what I got from it.
I agree. And so is that why you feel I'm trying to get to the relevance to you too, Hank? You ended up at the therapist because you weren't fitting into the society. Is that what it was?
That's correct.
Okay. And then you see that the society, you really shouldn't fit in, should you?
I was told that there would be a place for me somewhere, but no. But everyone's just pointing in circles, so I had to walk the circle over and over again. So I said,
I'm sorry to interrupt. Welcome. Yes, I am here with you, my brother. Okay. I've walked a similar but different voyage than you. Hey, I want to come to these. Why I stay in this online community? I see so much opportunity. I see, honestly, a lot of amazing humans who are like me, figuring out what's going on in this world and figuring out what we're about. I see myself in a lot of the dysfunction, I guess. Hey, and there was one for you, Hank. Where do you find your hats, if you're willing to share?
I already did. I said internet. So
Oh,
probably most of them Amazon, but some of them were Walmart.
okay. You've
And one
already
of them was Hot Topic. That Luffy hat's Hot Topic, the yellow one.
um hey, this right here. We teach people how to treat us based on the behaviors we tolerate. That is an unfortunate truth, but it is true. And part of our growth and our development, we've got to each learn how to stand up and say, no, I'm not going to accept this anymore. This is not my problem. This is not my experience. When we get approached with a lot of hate and anger, which is what I'm seeing with people like Snafu and Illumitami and others. Life is interesting, so amazing. And yet our minds want us to believe it is so hard. And then guess what? We make life hard. And then what happens is we've got a lot of people that came from real tough backgrounds, still carrying a lot of emotional pain and betrayal from when they were children, but they know how hard life can be, and they know that you got to be tough. The hard life makes you tough, and the world would be better if there's a lot of tough people. And so then all these toughness tries to be thrown around at each other, and it's all craziness, man. Hey, here is another bright light of sanity to start the new year off with, my dear friend Jesse. God bless
What's
you.
up? What go on, everybody? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you, my friend.
Thank you.
Did you get to spend it with Angeline?
Yeah, so we drove in on Friday for my sister's born day. We celebrated that on Friday. Last night we had tickets to the Jack Singer concert hall where everyone was formal dress. So I put on my nice Hugo Boss suit and we danced. I took 500 milligrams of oil and smoked a joint. And then as soon as the joint that I smoked kind of started to wear off, boy, did that oil kick in. And we didn't leave the dance floor for 4 hours. My legs are so sore today, but it was a lot of fun.
I'm glad to hear. I'm glad to hear. Yeah, life is interesting. Hey, I hope this. I pray. It won't just be Jack, it will be us. We will bring peace to the Panelverse and shortly after the world. You know what? Let me not diminish. Respect. I love your faith, man. I trust I will accomplish things along those directions. That's my goal.
It's a good goal.
It's time for all of us. Hey, Sterling, good for you. Sterling Ray. I stood up against abusive behavior this weekend during my nursing shift. Don't have a lot of details. I'll assume the best, and good for you. Part of our life, part of our growth and development is learning how to defy, learning how to stand up and say, nope, not going to happen. The mature part, though, too, as well, I guess, is learning when to raise that defiant spirit, when to raise the aggression. I got a lot of people that like to show me their defiance and their aggression, and it's so cute and hilarious.
We can't always comprehend why people say and do things, but we can control how we respond to them as long as we're authentic and, we are doing the best that we can. Then, just be proud of the journey. It's not always going to be easy. There's going to be bumps in the road. There's going to be people that are going to want to take you off your path and purpose, but just keep going. Just have faith that, God has us covered. God will help us through whatever it is that comes, and just walk through the valley of the shadow of death and fear no evil. Live without fear, and love without fear, and just go about your journey the best that you can.
Amen.
I don't believe in God, but I wish I did.
Is there anything that prevents you?
I'm not sure. I've never felt it. There's an
Never
expression in
felt
the military that people usually turn into people of faith when they're being shelled in a trench. They cry out for something, whether it's their God or their mother. So maybe I've never been in a situation that bad, fortunately. But it's just never been. I don't know. Some people have it in their brain or in their heart, and some people don't.
I understand that. And I appreciate your honesty. The reason I asked, the idea of God, and here's another thing I've been reminded of. If it's not necessarily God, if you can accept the term of source or the creator, which it's hard to really deny that there's something. So here the point is, I spent a lot of my life without seeing the value in a spiritual relationship, in a spiritual path. I saw no value in religions. I didn't see the purpose of, fantasizing about things I couldn't see. And then I found a reason to start looking. And I tell you what, I'm so glad I did start looking for reasons to believe. Part of what I didn't go to the, in my service in the military, I actually didn't go to and see combat or real hostility in foxholes. So it took me losing everyone and everything that I cared about for me to do this. But it's interesting you bring that up. I wasn't in the foxholes, but I felt like I was. And I found a reason to turn to God, and I am so grateful that I did. Started trying to understand, what if, okay? What if these things are true? And then I know there's evidence and a lot of distinction between the messages in the Old Testament and the New. And actually, the Bible was actually one of the last places I did finally turn to in my path to understand God. But I'm learning, and I continue to learn, and I'm so grateful, because here's the reality. We don't know who we are. We didn't create the body we're living in. It just was given to us. And we didn't create the world, but it was given to us. And everything else, it's all it's all part of life, I guess, barter and exchange, so to say.
And whatever this God, creator, source, Yeshua, Allah, whatever people want to call it, is different to everybody. Some people find it internally, some people find it externally. However you relate and, co-create with creation, that's just you, being God, creating itself through each and every single one of us.
That's what I've come to trust and accept. There is a universal force in the universal, the one verse. the universe. We are the song. We are the song the Creator is singing, right? We're the rhythm and the dance of life. All of the past, the rhythms brought us to where we are. In my path, in hindsight, I learned later the old, I think it's a Sufi saying, searched for God and found only me. I searched for myself to discover God, something along those lines. When we try and recognize who we are, what it is that we actually are, when you go beyond the labels, right? Go beyond the labels of I'm a man, I'm a liberal, or I'm a conservative, or I'm straight, or I'm gay, or I'm a father, or a wife, but get rid of those titles, and all that we are, we're just the awareness. And so when we get rid of all the opinions that make the filter of our awareness, when we get rid of all the memories and opinions, all we are is the loving awareness. That is. We are the consciousness. We are the universe becoming consciousness, conscious of itself. It's such a magnificent life. It's such a magnificent, incredible creation. I think collectively we should do a better job of preserving life, nurturing life.
Everybody could see everyone else as a co-creator opposed to being separate. We're all co-creators of whatever this dimension is. Then if you're equal to everyone else, we're all just co-creating together. Doesn't put anyone above or below anyone else, no matter what their thoughts or beliefs are, as long as they're not actively going and harming others or harming our sacred Mother Earth or harming, anything. Then just co-create as you want, whatever you feel that co-creation is. It's okay in my eyes.
These are things that took me a lifetime to learn. I was so caught up in my little shell of it was just me. But hey, welcome, Aaron. Well, and there he went. He was sitting patiently, and I guess my time ran out. I don't know. Hey, Dominic, you've been pretty quiet too. Anything to offer? You dropped a link in the chat.
Hey, Jack. How you doing? I hope you're doing well. I hope everybody on the panel is doing well.
Absolutely. Hey, there's Aaron back.
Hey guys, sorry about that. For some reason on my Bluetooth headphones, it's not playing back properly. So hopefully you're hearing me.
I can hear you.
Good deal. How's everybody doing? Happy New Year, everybody.
Absolutely.
Really good, thanks.
Nice. Hey, Jack. So the reason I'm sorry to interrupt at all. The reason I was calling is because you were kind of touching the point of something that I have found myself. I don't know if it's knowledgeable about is the right word, but experiencing, which is the non-believer of monotheism or any modern human word to word, that kind of thing. Like, how are we going to trust another man talking about a spiritual being kind of thing where, and then when you take the logic even further, my friend, a girlfriend of mine very early on pointed out, I don't need a sky daddy is what you used to say, and I've always found that funny because, yeah, that's kind of the image in the mind, for that kind of thing. To those of us who may not believe the same way others do, whatever it is. I actually, by the way, to each their own as we see it, because nobody can be certain. But the way I've come to it, and I was just going to share this, is that, I've come to a broader and more faith-based living by my understanding of particle physics and quantum physics. And then, of course, kind of a background in understanding or reading the esoteric and metaphysical, writings of many different mages, or Fulcanelli, or you name it. There's all kinds of people out there that have written pretty wild stuff that describe kind of what we found in particle physics now. And and then when I bring this up a lot, when you look at the gateway process, it becomes this thing of universal oneness, and the what we know in science observably matches that, and it backs up all the religions, and that's where it's like, oh, I kind of have a universal thing that may look, just let's just say for the sake of argument, it's all wrong. Let's just say it's all wrong. It's at least all saying the same wrong thing. So it's the clock stopped at the same spot, twice a day, and we're just looking at that one spot. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, that it's all wrong. Then at least it's saying that, whatever it is perceivably correct to us from this angle, and that's living in the moment.
That's all logic points to this. What you're saying, the oneness, just the mere concept of time, where we are the experience that is happening in this present right now. We're unified by time, if anything at all. So it's and that transition, what you said too, the knowledge has been there for a long time. The idea is to change the mindset, change your mind's perspective from the duality consciousness into the changing mind into unity consciousness is the idea.
I actually think, though, Jack, and I would argue this, that our
Okay.
individuality, and hear me out on this one, our individuality and sense of, well, our attempt to sense of free will, because that's arguable, it always has been, that's Aristotle and such, that is it's like a gift during this time period. And in the observable world, there is both chaos and order, and in the between. So I think the variance of everything, the variance of the chaos and the calm, these are necessary to create balance. So you get a refined cream, but it's not really cream. It's just another level. Just a different version. There's all these things have to exist, I believe. I really do believe, and it's not that I believe in chaos by any means, Jack, but I really would argue that it is to not have faith in some degree that those things are important for us to get the perspective. That would be my argument. Does that make sense? Or the perspective of God, actually, and appreciation for happiness, appreciation for the love, if that's more clear.
That's the goal, right? That's what you're saying?
Yes, it is the goal, but
Yes.
without those things, without the asteroid that might take us out tomorrow for no apparent reason, just out of nowhere in the middle of the night, we don't really, the few of us that are looking at life this way, or whatever it is, looking at life in love, looking at life and our friends and our surroundings and other humans as love, and as animals and the planet, we're all part of some lucky system, lucky experience. We're breathing and eating and the rest. Our skin, we get to interpret the information in a tactile sense and then have tools. That's astonishing compared to the entirety of what we can observe in the universe.
Okay, where you're going, the gift that life is, it's amazing. And it brings us the opportunities to do a lot of things, to take the information we learn, we know in our life, and like a computer, we take all the knowledge we've learned and review it, analyze it, and pull different things out of it to create. Sorry, I took us off on a path there.
No, that's part of it, man. To be able to access those, and this is the thing. Look, man, people are so focused on myopic line of sight. The great thoughts of the world, to extend ourselves through synthesis via the dialectic, which if you all don't know, that's what we're having right now, an actual case of dialectic. This isn't an argument. It's not a debate. We're all sharing our thoughts and feelings to get to a synthesis of understanding by a third party point of view, meaning we can stand outside of those points of view and go, what can we get? Maybe it's not one of us. Maybe it's somebody in the audience. So that art, that creation, whether it be a photon bouncing against, protonic matter, creating a vibration that we perceive as light, or whether it's art, or whether it's a conversation, or a baby, or these are all creation.
Right.
I mean, like and it's the reflection of that is stated in every belief system. The reflection of that. I think that the reduction beyond that is, or the proliferation of division amongst that, is where the problem lies amongst us in communication.
Correct.
Personally,
the divisions. We've taken the idea, and this, I think you started on this as well, or touched on it. We've taken the individuation part of us, the uniqueness that we are, and we've allowed the differences to find meaning. We've found meaning in ourselves for these differences we find. And we've created all of these imagined separations of why we can't get along, why we can't. It's crazy. We can do far more than put up with the nonsense of this current political economic structure. We can do a lot.
yeah, I believe that we can. I believe we can do way more. I think that it's been shown, statistically, that the whole planet can be provided for. I think the number was almost 20 billion if we all utilized the resources properly, and there was caring for all that. But that said, you start to come into the issue of humanity being naturally flawed, self-interested, yada yada yada. And I mean, you can name it all. There's always going to be somebody who takes advantage of the vulnerable. There's all these things, and this is where it's like we've never been a monolith of a species, which is why utopia doesn't work very well in practice. It becomes authoritarian or totalitarian in the end to assert utopian environment.
Well,
And this is where hear me out. The way utopia, I believe, is actually exerted is in symbiotic care.
Natural law.
It's not, and that's not to be given that everybody gets everything for free, but rather a rationalization of the tribe as humanity rather than just what we look like, where we're from. That would start the other. That's where I would argue. That's what, Jack. That starts that other movement. And I know we've gotten off topic. And somebody asked actually in the back what, and this is a great question, by the way, about what is needed to be in peace and silence. And I think this comes along with the idea of the utopia, and with the and utopia is such a terrible word because it's like such an absolute extreme position. How much is love? Be in love with life. How about just be happy with things? Why does it have to be some extreme state of being?
Well, if everybody can honor natural law, right, then we could actually live symbiotically with our fellow brother and sister as well as with our earth, and that would create a utopic state.
Yeah, but when natural law doesn't work in my favor, what's in it for me for acknowledging it?
Well,
Works in everybody's favor.
Hold on. Your question contradicts natural law, because natural law isn't necessarily just selfishness. It's the idea that we work together, symbiotic. We join together with all of us and all that nature brings.
Hank, do you mean by natural law? Let me ask you this, just to clarify. Do you mean like laws of nature, or do you mean natural law of man, which is I think it's Plato's. I think it's a Plato concept, which is different, which is that man seeks to unify, but gets in his own way, essentially.
Well, it's the same thing, but the Plato
no,
thing is more
very
accurate.
much not. Okay, your belief is the same thing, or I'm sorry, I don't want.
Well, yeah, my belief is it is the same thing, but
Copy.
we do stratify because that's natural for us in particular. So Plato think would be more accurate.
Yeah, no, I understand now. No, you're not thinking of it as in like the animal nature of man. You're thinking of it as yeah, that's a beautiful thought. It doesn't ever works out, which is kind of my argument too, is that man always wants to tribalize, and it becomes an existential situation, I believe, where it's like we all have to kind of have that same, and Jack has talked about this, have that same moment of existential, either ego death or whatever, kind of simultaneously as a planet to go, oh, we're all brothers, sisters, mothers, and fathers, you know.
Yeah, and we need a dialectic, like we had to invade Mercury or something to get that.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. That is a great example too. Like you have to literally, like, somebody has to show everybody the Philosopher's Stone all at the same time, and then we'll all go, oh, you know, like.
Maybe I mean there's still gonna be some French people say, well, you know what, I'm going with those other guys.
Of course, just because. No, I agree with that too. And this is what I was pointing out with Jack is, so the universe is not fair. The one that we live in, C-137, is not fair.
Compared to what?
Exactly.
The universe is fair. It's the matrix that has been not fair and unkind to people, where people have to dominate over others. But the universe is actually, what keeps us in order the best that we can.
True.
Well,
But
best we can's not ideal. So if you want to call fair, then I don't understand what you mean by fair.
Yeah, I would have to agree with him, because fair means ideal when the universe is both chaotic and order. It has all of the components in between. It's not a binary system. It is absolutely like wild, in that, once again, we don't have a choice if an asteroid comes out of nowhere, or say like a black hole opens up next to us for some unknown reason. That's not fair by our standards and human standards. And that's also what brings me back to human standard. We have very human standards that are based off of what we feel of ourselves. And Jack was talking about this earlier, value. And actually, Brittany Sine was talking about this today, and she talks about bubbles, and she was seeing it in a slightly different manner, but the values at a meta level may not mean much, actually, in comparison to everything else. But on the minuscule, on the minutia level, those values mean incredible things, and we'll give them value, if that makes sense. I don't know if that's much of an answer. I think I'm getting a little woo-woo with it, but.
Well, I'm really kind of I align with some of those Hermetic principles, and I was reminded of them earlier today. The all is mind. All the meanings come from our mind, and our mind is so much more than what we've allowed it to be, collectively and individually. This is what the old religions were trying to teach, is the power of the mind and consciousness, and really learning how to live and think with your heart.
Yeah, but I reject Jesse's Buddhist notion of all is fair, because I mean, if I go and commit an atrocity in Tibet, some of those monks would be really mad at me and want to beat me up. So all
Well played. I'm not gonna lie, that was an interesting point.
Well, we only know the perspective of the universe or this land from our own perspective. And if you bring in the concepts of karma and the endlessness of time, consequences, this realm is cause and effect. Everything that we do has a consequence, and we don't always foresee the consequence or appreciate it, but I think there is a fairness to life. I actually think the universe, the energies of the universe, are created for the purposes of sustaining and creating life. And that universal purpose of creating and sustaining life eventually somehow created humanity. And what humanity has chosen to do, it's illogical. It doesn't make sense for us to it doesn't make sense for us not to share. sharing and cooperation it's natural. We're supposed to be kind and share with each other, help raise each other up, and help life come forth.
Yeah, but isn't it also natural to just take from others and hoard it?
No, that's not natural.
It's
So,
it's
so what's
natural.
happening? Is it coming from another universe? So I don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, it. Here's the thing about that. That is there, and anything that happens is natural. That's the thing I would argue is anything that happens is
Yes.
natural, and to doubt that is to doubt the system.
Yeah,
That's
I
the thing
agree.
that I kind of take. It's like we're and
But
like
the
we know
matrix has
which.
been inverted, though.
No. See, you keep saying the matrix, man. We live in a quantum holographic environment. So which one? You mean the actual reality or the one in the absolute beyond? Because that's all of us, based off of what what the tenets of all the major religions is that we're in the Akashic afterwards without free will. And then we're
But the
here with free will.
illusion was created. So there's an illusion and then there's reality. And most people
These
live
are
in the illusionary matrix.
this is a metaphor. This is a very old metaphor that comes from the story of Sisyphus. And it literally got interpreted or interpolated into all the major religions in one way or the other. It actually predates that even further when you start looking at where the story comes from. And it's about the separation of time, light, and matter. And what it's describing is a hologram. And I mean, if you want to talk about it in real physical terms and not the metaphysical, that is a thing. But what is being described in all these old records, man, I can tell you this in the Buddhist belief and all this stuff in the mandala, which is a fractal, is science left over from previous humanities. I would argue
Yeah.
every day, and then
Right.
and these things are literally embedded. Now we know in the universe and us, because that's what particle physics is. Now we even know there was we are at the point where we're past hypothesizing. We've seen examples of it repeatedly in scientific study that the localized universe is made up of our perception of it only when we're aware of it. That's even weirder. So I would be able to argue that like none of the things that we see as made by someone else, it's not made by an outside entity. Anything that is here is made by our perceptions, the energy fields, the waveforms, and it's specifically an interference pattern of protons being reflected off by neutrons and electrons that cause the light that makes us see. So it's all misinterpretation of like understanding the particle physics. And I can understand how it can be dumbed down or simplified, reduced, even to the cave paintings. I've seen stuff in petroglyphs that I just can't get over, that it's like it's electronics. They're electronics. So like it's just a very rudimentary format of drawing a transformer or drawing a capacitor. I really have come to believe that language that you're using is just a very basic understanding or explanation of particle physics. Sorry, that's where I get that. So and I'm not to argue. You believe what you want to believe. I could be completely wrong altogether, by the way, because we don't know.
But you're not wrong. You're right to you. Everybody's
Yes,
got their own interpretation on what this is.
True. And I'd support that, by the way. That's the other beauty. I think that's the other beauty of this lack of fairness. We all got to take our transformative experience back to the actual all being, knowing, whatever you want to see it as, Yahweh, whoever. We all get to take that back and add in, and then come back stupid.
We can spend lifetimes trying to understand what things are, and I think that's part of the game. But we can also spend lifetimes trying to change that which is, trying to nurture and influence that which is. And I think it is time for us to really put some effort into bringing some influence to the direction that this world is heading. I mean,
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of people spending time and energy preparing. Go ahead, Hank.
So
Please.
I have an issue. If that's the case, why is Jack saying let's end our wars instead of there's no wars exist? There's some kind of missing piece that prevents this or thoughts from actualizing. So
Okay, I see what you're saying. The contradiction that if I want wars to end, why do I keep discussing it?
But no, I mean literally, he instead of I'm literally asking why this wish just isn't automatically granted. He says, "I want to end all wars," instead of "no wars exist."
It's collective. It's all of us, and all that happens is within the order and within the grace of the Creator.
But
And
but look, I'm gonna show my mental flexibility because I can go ahead and go further and say no wars exist. Then I'll just pretend well all the violence is happening, but that's not a war. That's not a war. That doesn't count as a war. I just
okay,
define war of existence.
hey,
But
that
that
sounds.
but that doesn't stop the actual violence from occurring. I just redefine the war
Hey,
away.
exact. You just described, from what I understand, you just described the Trump administration. As
Correct.
I hear a lot of people saying he made wars go away, but that's not happened. All right, so Hank, I got you, brother. I see what you're saying. We don't want to lie. We don't want to be dishonest. And honestly, each of us individually, no, we cannot. We don't have the power or the opportunity to end the wars. We don't immediately have the reach, resources, or power to help those children or help the people who are suffering. However, it matters in life who you know, right? And we all know different people. And if we can collectively agree that this is the lifetime for us to end wars, eliminate wars, you're right. Create a world without wars. All we got to do is convince people to stop fighting each other. I've been trying to do that a long time, man.
I saw something interesting today, Jack. I thought you might appreciate it.
What's that?
So, during the Second World War, there's a national portrait gallery in London, and one of the historians, he moved all of the artwork out of London in case it got bombed. So they moved it to a mine in Wales, like thousands of pieces of art. But he held concerts in London of German music to remind the British people that the Germans weren't the enemy, it was the Nazis. So he made sure that people remembered they're human beings too, but it was the Nazis they were fighting.
That is wonderful. I've never heard this story before. That is fantastic.
It's a very famous historian, Lord Kenneth Clark. He did a few BBC series and wrote some books. A very influential art historian.
That's
Great guy.
awesome. I'm glad you brought that up, actually. Art and creativity, productive work, productive being, and a sense of wholeness, like wellness, eating, sleeping, calm. There's been in amongst the altruist greenbeard community that I've always kind of been a part of, a hypothetical that's gone around, and I think it comes from Kurzweil, but I'm not fully certain, to be frank. Sounds like something he would have proliferated. The replacement of war via productivity. And it sounds like something that Lenin would have come up with, but it's not that. It's the fact that people you have to use the replacement theory for addicts. You have to give people something else. You have to replace the anger. You have to replace the xenophobia. You have to replace the politic. You have to replace the administrations altogether with other things. People that, and the practices to not have the most hawkish in those administrations around the planet. You have all of these things to replace human deviancy in some way, shape, or form, in the sense that people will take advantage of the vulnerable if they're given the chance a lot of the times. So you got to give them something else. You have to give them the art. You have to give them the ability to freely do that and encourage them. You have to give them the spaces to do that and be whatever they want to be. And it's when boundaries, lines, countries mean more than the universal sense of self, and also when the manufactured scarcity comes into play in pair. You get that? That's the thing to take it down, that we have to take down, really. And there's probably a third option in there too that also has to go along with it, which is, I would actually argue, it's the spiritual sense of oneness with the universe and love of life. Because I think there's a lot of people that don't care or think that life isn't to be loved. There's something afterwards, and I think that's a con too. Sometimes they want you to throw away this life so that in case there's something else.
That's how they've disconnected everybody from, well, not everybody, but that was the agenda, was to disconnect people from source, God, creator. So people don't have that connection. So they're not living in flow and alignment with it.
Hey, you're right. Let me jump in here for a couple of reasons, if I may. We've got Snafu in the back. I'm sure he's wanting to complain because he got timed out in the chat.
Is that the focus of your panel, though, Jack? He can stay in the back if it's,
Yeah, I'm comfortable leaving him in the back. The other side of this, though, is to tie into the topic of conversation. Many people have been misled. We've become very confused, and we don't understand what life is about. And Snafu, I'm hoping you're listening, because I'm going to give you a very brief chance. What happens is we lose track of being present. And when we're present in silence, we are without sin in the moment. We are perfect and without harm. So when we can come to the moment, Snafu, in silence and presence, we can start from silence, and with the purpose of listening, we can discuss things. Are you here and present, Snafu?
Here in the present recorded for Talcott, sir.
Not authentic, not genuine, not caring. Another character again.
Still am here in the present for and listening, sir.
All right. I'm tired of dealing with the character, Snafu. When you choose to be a man, like an honest man, one who cares about the Christ within you, the Christ within me, when you can present yourself as a man with me, Snafu, we'll have wonderful conversations. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt with that, but the point is, the world has become confused. This is what I've resolved for myself. Please consider it, accept it or reject it, whatever, but think about it. If God is eternal, omniscient, ever present and all of that, okay, God is here and now. And the same applies for the Son. So it said, the Son being the presence and grace of Yeshua, the Christ. So if God and the Christ are present at all times, we are not. So when do we choose God? When do we choose the Christ? When do we choose the love that is available right now?
So I guess kind of don't understand we, and I don't understand love. So I mean,
I think you do understand we in the context of what I was offering. And I believe, while you may not have an immediate idea of love, you do know love. We all know love in our own ways, and it's not always a clear picture of love, but we do know love. Love is the reason for life, and it can be, and everything is in varying degrees. Here, this is something important. Rather than like, dislike, recognize, prefer, and don't prefer. We make such a big deal over our opinions, our likes and our dislikes. We grow into hate over things that we claim we don't like. But if we recognize it's not up to us what life offers to us, it's up to us how we respond and how we react to what life brings for us. So the best way to improve anyone's life, this should work for any person. The best way to improve your life is with more gratitude. And the best way to find more gratitude is to get over what you don't like and you don't want and start finding what you appreciate. Because without appreciation, there's no gratitude. Without gratitude, love is absence. Just simple logic.
Oh, okay. So what do you say to the person who thrives on conflict? You just
Someone who thrives on conflict, they've established a pattern,
yes.
probably, likely. It's only they can choose to change it. But someone who has developed a pattern of conflict, it's understandable. Even without knowing the story, I can imagine many reasons why people develop patterns of conflict. The idea would be to recognize the downside to patterns of conflict. We don't always have people we can trust around when we've got patterns of fighting everybody. And if we can look at the benefits, of overcoming our patterns of conflicts, which there's many. Does that make sense?
Yes, but one of those patterns is force. I mean, if we can't just talk someone into stopping, then you just go to force.
Well, why is that? Hold on a second. Why is that the only other option? There's plenty of other things that happen there, and force is actually not as common when it comes to. That's generally at the end of the route, and although it seems like we see it constantly, we know more about it because we see it in the news and the phone, and we have access to it. I would actually argue that we live in, and it is not even arguable, we live in literally the most peaceful time in human history and have for the past 70 years.
That's true.
I
agree that we've been in the most peaceful time in human history, but there's this we get to the point with some people that hey, we decided to close the door, we're kicking you out.
I'm sorry, I miss a little of the point of the last there, Hank.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can't just talk a person down from the anger, the fakeness, and you just have to say, hey, there's the door. Right. Get out.
Yeah. No, well, hold on a second, Hank. I think you may be mistaking healthy boundary for battle. And there's a distinct difference. I think I hear this actually. I'm glad you brought this up. I hear this a lot amongst folks that spend a lot of time on the internet or deal with the social inequity. I'm sorry, that's not the right word. The social insensitivities and lack of graces of the internet culture of VCs and all that stuff, because they're, many different behaviors that you just would never do. It comes from the gaming culture, in normal life. And I think you mistake what in normal life you'd have a disagreement with somebody, you got to kick someone out of your house. Let's say you got a roommate. Just that example, you got to ask somebody to leave. And it always sounds like really vicious when you're saying kick somebody out, but that's what ends up happening. But as an example, or whatever it be, the disagreement that causes a boundary that you have to draw. It is the toughest thing about life. One of the toughest ones. It's very disappointing, and it shouldn't be seen as battle, but rather as necessary to health for all parties. That's my take on it. I would argue that.
Okay. Well, here's the thing. When you scale it up, it looks like a battle because one of the parties can put up a resistance longer.
Oh, of course. And this is something that, this is something, I'm glad you point that out. Some people will spin out, and you can tell whose energy. And I often joke, the joke is when you live rent free in someone else's mind, they're spinning out. You just have to walk away. You have to stay clear. There's 8 billion of us, plenty of room for our little tiny specks of ourselves. And we're not going to all get along like that. That is kind of where the utopian state mindset is problematic, because there's so many differing points of view that the only reason a utopian state would work is if we were all in one mindset, and there just won't ever be that. So
Well,
we
wait.
we will. Well, let me finish for a second, real quickly, Jack, because you hear the rest of this. I believe we will always have some form of disagreement. It's a matter of how we deal with it, how we learn to deal with it with each other to create safer, better, healthier boundaries for us in a better way, because humanity does have a terrible habit of becoming their animal self again and grabbing the club. So I agree with you, Hank, that there's a limitation to where we're at now. Okay, sorry, Jack. Go ahead.
So you presented the conclusion that humanity will never change, and then you offered the solution that proves that it certainly can if we educate each other.
Oh, I didn't say they would never change. I just said we're just where we're at. Oh, did I? I apologize. I did not mean to say that that it will never change. I apologize if I'm
well,
backing up.
It's what I heard, and maybe
okay, no,
but
no, not where I'm coming from on that. No, I just believe that we have these. We have. This is my point. We all have assholes and opinions, and they're all our own, and we all love our own stink. So that's going to always stop humans from being 100% all 8 billion, 10 billion, 15 billion agreeing unilaterally on everything. I'm talking about everything, because you can't. Sometimes you're just going to have those people that don't want to be neighbors.
You know? Hold on.
I mean, but and this is my argument: is how to deal with that is to recognize that we are all different, and that we have bad habits of how we deal with that difference, rather than seeing that can be something exalted.
Right. And this is what I'm suggesting. We live at this time and age right now with this the abilities to communicate around the world. We could be sharing solutions, how to communicate with each other better, how to overcome our triggers, how to find peace and create common ground with people around us. We can train humans to be better humans. And as we each start working on ourselves and we stop enabling our own problems and continuing just complaining, we'll start helping each other as well. And when we stop blaming each other for each other's problems, we can start helping correct. And I see in the future where, if there's people who don't see the value in playing along with the rules, well, we come together and we help educate. We understand why is there resistance, or what is that they don't understand.
And if they still don't get it, we'll throw them in a cage.
No. No. That's not that's where the utopian society has a limit cut off, by the way. Theoretically is suddenly it's well, what do you do with the errant one person who stands up? Well, no, that's why it has to be inclusion and the exaltation of our differences in a better system. And so here's where I wanted to ask you, Jack, what are your minutia ideas? So let's just say interpersonal discomfort and the interpersonal problematic situations of one-on-one first responses of, and you were kind of starting there of getting people together and finding better solutions for them. But I would like to hear how you approach some of those minutia solutions.
I think the best approach in anything is to come present, intentionally make sure your mind and your heart are here and present, paying attention to whoever it is you're communicating with. As long as what I believe, while we're each different, we've each got our own foundations of knowledge that we're starting from when we communicate. We each have processes of reasoning and logic. We each have similar levels of compassion and understanding of others. Anytime we try to understand, we can. It's just a matter of intention. And for anyone who's having relationship issues, that's what I would suggest is mutually agree that, okay, we've had problems in the past, but we're making the effort. We both care. and we're both here, we're both present. We can discuss the past and be safe here and now. If we just practice being more mature with our conversations,
Praise be, Jack. That's good stuff right there. Always good advice from Jack. But Jack, I'd like to ask, how do you know? But do you have experience being with men? Like Hank might not be with women all the time, and your experience is with women.
I'm not sure why you're focused on the bedroom practices, or why are the bedroom practices in your mind?
It's not. It's just like men are different than women emotionally.
Well, yes and no. You are and are not right. Women are a mystery to me. I don't claim to know them, but I do claim to understand the processes of logic, and I understand the logic of emotions.
But what about men dating men like Hank does?
Why?
I think it's kind of a derailer, man. It's not really on topic or part of the it's just not
Thank
part of the
you.
thing.
I'm being inclusive.
But you're
No,
being
you're being actually you are excluding some by relative intention.
yes. Thank you.
I'm
No,
sorry, Jack. That's
But
no way to start
but
the
it's
new year.
but no, and it's kind of, I don't know if you realize it, man, but it's kind of a dog whistle, and it's one of those like throwouts that like some other people will be like, yeah, when we all want to be loved. We all want to be loved, and love is love is love. So I mean, and this is the other thing is I kind of taken for life is that, if it is there, it's meant, and we should trust that the universe has given us it, even if we don't like it. That's part of the disgusting thing of the universe, is that it's got things we don't like in it, and we got to deal with it. That's sometimes the challenge for us. That's the lesson for us half the time.
that's the one I've been practicing. How to appreciate the things you don't like when you learn about them in the world. And
Oh, and they can
there,
make you angry too. They can make you angry.
yeah,
This is the other thing. They can make you scared. They can make you angry. That's the whole trick. That's the whole trick, to make all the most normal things that are part and parcel of our lives, of our experience existent, that have really no effect on us, to get us upset about it so we forget about living our own lives.
Yeah, they'll do it.
well, that's our own path though as well. Infinitely, it was created specific for each of us. Our own life is our own life journey. And these triggers, they're for us to learn from. Why does it bother me? Why is it important to me what someone else does? What is it within me that is aware of that? All of those questions.
Jack, you know what I found is half the time, some point in someone's life, oftentimes that person that they dislike ends up saving their life somehow, like, or is in some position where they have to be, like, they learn that like that's a normal person, and I think life is funny that way, that it always puts that challenge in front of people no matter
You
what.
need to quit being a triggered little snowflake.
Yeah, snowflake, funny.
Now, I appreciate your input. I always appreciate it. I don't claim to say the right things or do the right things 100% of the time, or even 50% of the time, but I'm trying to do better than I did yesterday.
You are crazy growing, MC. I'm never gonna take that away from you, bro. I may disagree with some of the more horrible points that you make, but I will always tell you, bro, you are growing in crazy ways. The first time I saw you was on another platform, screaming some wild shit, and I'm gonna pat anybody on the back that grows and wants to grow. Simply,
That's true.
folks would hate me for the fact that I'm even talking to you, bro. Simply for that, and I will challenge them to be more of a human, more adult, more fucking. If you want to talk about more being a man, fucking, you got to have the balls to face someone who disagrees with you, and then come to a ground and drink a beer. Try that.
My balls are always on the table for everyone to see.
And it sounds like it, man. It sounds like it. So you got that, and the more you grow, that's all you got. You go to your grave with whatever you take with you, and the only thing you take with you is what you have in your head. So I'll support you on any growth, man, especially in when it comes to love. Love is a thing. I'm sorry.
Hey,
anyways,
actually, amen. All those things. We are all growing, and if you're not growing, shame on you. You're not paying attention. because whether you like it or not, life is happening all around us. And Nemesis, you got a great heart, man, but some of these things that you found to be important might not be as important as you might think. Okay. And that's not just you, that's many, many people. I found that many times for myself. Some of the things I thought were important that I couldn't live life without, well, turned out I was wrong. So it's okay for us to be wrong.
Do you know what pathological is?
In which context?
I am a pathological sociopath, Jack.
Yeah, the incapability of self-control to stop oneself from doing harmful acts to others and oneself, actually.
And what I mean by that, I have a certain goal in mind, and I will probably try every way possible to achieve that goal. I don't care about the morality of it.
Well, that's illogical and foolish. If I understood you right, you don't
Well,
care about the morality.
Jack, just to clarify, anybody who's actually been diagnosed with this, so neurological dysfunction. It's not like intention.
Okay.
At that point, it's neurological dysfunction, and it's not unlike, well, there is a spot, and it can be retrained, but it also takes medication.
I'm on Lexapro.
Mm-hmm.
That helps me.
I'm sure. How are your dreams?
I don't know.
That's actually a good thing, because a lot of folks that dream on some of the mood stabilizers tend to have like waking dreams or really extreme dreams, and that can cause some confusion. But if you're not having like extreme dreams, you're not feeling it, you're getting good sleep, man, that's great. That's really great. And by the way, once again, growth. I mean, serious. That's a way far away. So, good deal.
And hey, absolutely. Whatever you're doing that helps you find balance and more awareness, the number one thing I've seen in you is your awareness. You're paying attention. I mean, Nemesis, he and I have talked offline. And you're paying attention, you're working on yourself. And brother, that is the key.
Hey, can I say something actually in respect to that, Jack, that has to do with you? Because you were talking about wistfulness earlier today, or malaise, or you didn't feel motivated.
Yeah.
Same rule for you, man. Same rule for you. I don't know if you've kind of seen the mirror there, but you got growth all day, every day. You're sharing it with us.
You know what? Thank you for pointing out what was in front of my face. Here I am offering the advice, the encouragement I needed to hear for myself.
Baba Ram Dass used to say we can often talk as long as we like. If we aren't actually listening, none of it matters.
Amen. That is brilliant wisdom.
Well, he used to say all kinds of wacky stuff. Like, one of my favorites is, "You are the best you for you."
It's true. These words of wisdom, I mean, seriously, it's ancient knowledge. It's eternal knowledge, because what is true is going to be true regardless of the time. And some of those those gems of wisdom, those little pearls, they can help us through the dark times. I know I carried a number with me. Can't remember what I used, but
Yeah, Jack, I'm always listening, and I just have, I'm trying to present a message to people. I'm trying to give them a choice, and I want them to understand each choice like you do, and I want them to decide what they want to be. And I'm trying to decide what I want to be and how much of.
that's the answer. Focus on you and allow others to choose themselves.
But Jack, I have like this creative mind, right? People told me I'm from the swamp. So you know what I start doing? I said, well, what if I was a fucking swamp monster?
All right.
You know what I'm saying? I try to twist it around on them. I try to turn negatives into positives.
Mm-hmm. So, did you become a swamp monster?
No, not necessarily a swamp
All
monster.
right.
I became more of a MAGA monster.
Oh, okay. Well, the monster thing, though, man, the monster. You're a beautiful man. We're all rough around the edges, huh?
That song, Don't Get In My Way, I'm a Monster. You like that?
I do not know. It sounds pretty catchy. No, I like you, man. You're a character. There's a lot of pretty cool characters on here. I
Do you
don't
know
know.
what? Okay, do you know what kayfabe is, Jack?
Not off the top of my head, no. What is that?
Kayfabe is like whenever a professional wrestler acts in character, right?
Okay,
And their goal is to stay in kayfabe. Like they don't want the audience to know. It's like an act, right?
gotcha.
But it's a live play act, like a theater.
Right.
So that's what I practice on YouTube. And let me tell you, after years of watching, I've been watching wrestling ever since I was suckling on the teat.
Mhm.
And I think that I learned a lot of my language from watching pro wrestling as a kid. You know,
Who's your favorite wrestler, MC? Who's your favorite wrestler? Which period?
I've been with John Cena since day one, even before, like back when he was a thug, right?
All right, wave 3. You're in wave 3. Cool.
Yeah, I was in right after my dad used to tell me, like, oh, you got to go to bed because Raw's coming on. And I said, nah, I ain't going to bed. He just laughed. He let me watch Raw with Goldberg and stuff on Raw.
Yeah, good times, man. That's good show. That's a good show.
But I think I learned a lot of my language from that, and I learned how to artistically express myself because these wrestlers, these homosexual wrestlers, would just go out there and be flamboyant and just really express themselves. And my dad, he was a really, straight man, conservative guy, but he was, always pulling for these homosexuals like Ric Flair. So, I'm just like, well, I think the masculine and the feminine met there because it was for redneck dudes, but at the same time, it's a soap opera.
Okay. Yes. You said a lot, man. I like you, dude. Hey,
Give us a woo, McNemesis.
he's
Give us
what?
a woo. Give us a woo,
Oh.
like Ric Flair. Yeah.
You got a Ric Flair woo in you?
Oh, I don't know. Woo!
There you go.
Yeah, brothers. Hey, he's coming out with an energy drink now. Woo energy drink. It has mushrooms in it.
Nice.
Like cordyceps and stuff.
Woo! That's a different kind of woo. Woo! Woo!
Hey, I want to come back to you though, because you started down that road talking about how you learned from them, and I can actually see that. I could even see the benefits in that. How you could gain some confidence by placing yourself with the characters, and you can gain some tips on being a character. However,
My dad put me on a path, Jack. He wanted me to be a pro wrestler.
all right. Well, here, brother, your path. You've learned a lot about that, and you've become somewhat of a character, your own character, your own star. There's something about being authentic, though, and just being natural and not even worrying about what the character might or might not do. You can be the character, you can still be the star, you can still be the rapper, but being it as you, so that if the star goes away, if the rapping somehow stops, you're still you. The idea is to grow into being you.
Have you ever watched? Did you ever watch Alex Stein yet?
That's that comedian. Yes, I think I think you
So
brought him up before.
right. So that's kind of my shtick. Like I was told by other rappers that, that I had a good voice. Like Ryan Upchurch is like, oh, you got a voice like for NASCAR, like for announcing. Like there goes he takes another left and another left there. Oh my God, he crashes. Like that's what Ryan Upchurch told me. And he has millions of views, and that's because I reacted to one of his songs. And that's what I'm saying. Like I've interacted with other people that told me that I have a good voice, and I was like, well, I take the voice right, and then I can do like different things with my rap vocals, like and that's just how I express myself. But how do I come off as not sounding like a R-tard, right? Because like for me, I'm not a gangster or a thug. So what do I do? I have to make up. I've made up a narrative. I've made up a character. Because what else was I supposed to do? Like, what am I supposed to rap about?
Well,
Hey,
here I can help you with this one, MC. This is my field of specialty, actually, and expertise, specifically,
love it.
and rap too. Like I
That's
can help you
right.
with all that. Like for real. Like I got a DPG chain and a jacket that says "Man Mantle Mom," sponsored by St. Ides, 1997. Uh, point point is that it always starts with a character. That is not uncommon in rapping because it's hard to learn how to write. Unless like you're prolific, unless you're like a Jay-Z or a Kweli or one of these people who was just like born prolifically to write, or Biggie, who was just like standing on the block and can remember everything. So Jay, folks who never wrote a thing down. Now it starts there and you're practicing. The other practice is now to start writing in your authentic voice to make it the same intensity and the same thing, to mean the same thing. You have a very deep belief and faith in Christ, in God, in Jesus. And I would say that may be something that you're just as passionate about that, honestly, you would have an audience to listen to that would listen to it too.
I think, hey, I mean, I've made Christian-like songs. You should listen to it if you're interested. However, I will say that it is boom bap. It's
Oh, of
not
course.
trap music. It's
I
not
don't. I know.
trap.
I listen to everything. Like I literally have mixed across so many genres, and I've production managed and tour managed all kinds of things. Like I listen
But
to
here,
everything. So
but wait, let me circle back around to Jack,
yeah.
right? So with Jack, so I already wrote a song inspired by some of his teachers. I was wondering, right? So you're like this energy, right? I think it would make for good music related content. I'm always looking for just ideations in my head, brainstorming things, and I think that it could make an interesting songs like I did before. Um, but I just you just got to get in the zone. Like, what is your creative zone, Jack? Like, when you're what is your creative zone?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure what you mean. I get my inspirations in a lot of different ways. I'm constantly seeking inspiration. So, and my craft is a little different. My purpose is a little different, but
But I'd argue actually. Let me ask you this: So, is it in the shower when you're showering? Do the thoughts come there? Is it when you're drinking your coffee? When you're on the shitter? When you're walking out in the neighborhood mowing the lawn? Is it when the noise is happening? Like that's I think what MC's meaning is like. What are you doing? Because I don't think that some
for
people
me,
have processes. I've seen them, and it's like
yeah.
I don't know how that happens. I'm the guy who's like I got to go do some work out in the yard, and then suddenly boom, something pops in. So
Actually, you just reminded me of another one. uh, Mindless yard work is sometimes inspiring, and the shower is absolutely a place of inspiration. And driving, particularly if it's a country drive, I'm not paying attention to traffic and stuff. I get filled with inspiration in those places. And massage. Let me not skip massage. I spend
ooh.
hours and hours in massage each day.
Really, Jack,
That's
and
amazing.
that you're lucky and little weird, but okay. No, I'd say no. I'm joking, not joking. Self care is a deep thing, and I am somebody who is very much down for the proper like therapeutic massage yeah, I can't lie that I had a lady friend, a lady I lived with for a good long while there, who managed a big, very fancy self-care center, and I was often used as the crash test dummy for new massage therapists. So it's I'm not gonna lie, that's a great way to just zone out and come up with new ideas. True.
Amazing, yes.
I've been teaching myself massage, and I encourage guys, these bodies, the body itself is a walking mystery. The the things our bodies can do. YouTube is a great place. Look up YouTube, some of the crazy human animal tricks that people do. There's some amazing people teaching their bodies how to do all sorts of crazy shit. Bouncing off
Fact.
walls and huh?
I said fact.
Right. I found my niche, I guess. It was because I was dealing with some cramps in my shin. I started digging into the muscles on my shin and my calf, and there is layers and layers and layers of pleasure to be found within your body. All you need is the time and the intention to find it.
True. There's also a lot of
That's
stuff
good.
on YouTube for if you want to look into massage therapy, understand like how I hate to use the word chakra, but how your nerve endings and your neurological centers work together, and when things are out of alignment and stuff, the Chinese have known this forever and ever. Your health can be affected. So stretching and or being limber, having loose muscles, being relaxed is a very important thing. It really does play into health.
This might be what I learned. The myofascial the massaging of the fascia that's runs through our bodies, our legs, and our arms. It's though we've got in some of the yogic teachings, it's the same channels. They were calling the meridians. They're the apparently where our body flows energy. It's in all these tissues of our body. And when you start digging into the fascia and massaging that around, oh man, the angels sing through you.
True. It's amazing how much energy we actually store up in our little tiny nerve endings. I mean, there's so we are an electrical device. I think people take that for granted. That every one of our thoughts and everything, it's all part of a static charge that we have inside of us. And really, to get back to where it comes from is that is the pairing of our mother and father's neurological electronic spark, and that means it's a pairing of their parents individually. They split back. It's very fascinating to me that the possibilities and associations to all of these memories or past memories and stuff can come through that. But more importantly, the fact that when we're experiencing that tingle, when we're experiencing thought, we are carrying the same energy as our ancestors for real. Like it just to think back about it. So when we experience these moments of like release of energy in our back, or like I have sciatica, so when my massage therapist gets rid of that, it's almost like an existential ego death, where everything is like the world spins for a minute, and it's like, okay, I'm back. Oh my God, I feel like me again.
It's like a
And
reset. Yeah.
it is a reset. Yeah. And even though it's physical and not mental, it is still, I think, just almost as revelatory to some degree.
Hey, all jokes aside, caring for your body, massage, stretch, exercise, those things truly are important, because the more you take care of your body, the better you feel. And when you were just talking about the spine, dude, it makes sense. Logic and reasoning, it makes sense from what I've heard from science. There's a fluid that surrounds our brain and it runs down our spine, and that's where all of these signals and all of this connections are going through. So focusing on my path, I was trying to understand and focus on like the energy chakras and trying to figure that stuff out. But the idea of bringing your focus into the base of your mind in the back, it's where I guess a lot of chemicals are produced. But if you bring your awareness in there with the focus on pleasure and love tied to every day, man, every day I manipulate my spine and I work out. It's like every night I get a little contracted again around my back, and every morning it's crack, 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 pop in the back. You open up that, get flexible in your spine. You feel more mobile. You're more likely to be active. And if you're more active, you're going to drop the weight. You're going to feel better. And when you manipulate, what I do when I manipulate my spine, I then allow myself to feel that pleasure. And it'll continue pulsing, right? The pleasure in your body will continue pulsing for a few minutes. And
Can I
then
say something about that, Jack,
Yeah.
by the way? Just before
Yes.
you move on, because we have, and especially in our nation, a propensity to puritanical encoding, speaking and virtue signaling. And pleasure equals deviancy instead of hedonism. Even the word hedonism is a bad word, which people think that, oh my God, that's deviancy. No, no, no. Deviancy is deviancy. Hedonism is the enjoyment of life. And I think that's often misunderstood, is that passion or pleasure, intimacy, and or, and not by sex. I mean intimacy as in closeness, understanding, closeness with the self. You can be intimate with yourself and then not in a sexual way. Like these are, to know oneself is to be intimate with oneself. And which is why it's been interpreted as the other. But to say that we have pleasure out of simple things, whether it's to eat a grape and drink a glass of wine, or whether to be get a massage or sit in a sauna.
Wow.
Not enough people know how to sit in a sauna and just shut the fuck up.
Right. Right. Aaron, I love that. What you just reminded me is the practice of patience. Learning how to be comfortable and just be present, allowing yourself to relax in the sauna, working out some of the tension, because our bodies we carry memories, tension from our parents through our life. But these bodies, I think the case can be made very easily, okay, that we are divine spiritual beings here in this form, and these bodies are angel suits. They're here for us to be angels with. And when we live with the heart of a saint, pure and, loving and kind, man, you feel good inside. Your body starts rewarding you. It's like, good job, Jack. You weren't a dick again.
Jeff, okay. Before I jump off, because I actually got to go. It's almost 6:00. I got some stuff I got to go head out to. But on that note, how do you, knowing where you're at right now, get to that angelic state of being? And I know what you mean metaphorically.
Mm-hmm.
How do you get to that through the darkness? Because I have my take on that, but I'd like to hear what you are, and then I'm gonna leave off and let you explain it, because I gotta go. But I appreciate you, man. Your panel is always illuminatory. It's revelatory. It's very wonderful to be able to share openly philosophy with diverse people, with very diverse and contradictory ideas and ideals and backgrounds and behaviors. I think it's proof that you don't have to be in the same echo chamber to either get along and talk and come to some similarity and understanding. And I want to say that anybody who's watching, if you're getting growth by just listening, or you're taking a little piece of it, then that's what you're getting. And I think I would urge anybody to, take part for themselves in listening and perceiving what they want from it. I think these are just earnest conversations of how we all want to get along and don't know really how to, and we're trying to figure it out through the synthesis of the dialectic. So again, Jack, how do you, in the dark, right now, find your way to the angel's position. And I'll leave you with that, man. I love you, man. You're a great person. And tell us what you think, man.
Respect, Aaron. Thank you, brother. Sincerely. How do I find the angels in the darkness? I'm going to come back to that in just a second. Someone commented earlier, Aaron, you have been a welcome guest. Many people have, but you certainly bring, you've got an expanded vocabulary and a beautiful, extensive mind. Just similar. We've got some beautiful minds. He wasn't here today. The machine lies came to mind right there. But today we had Hank, Aaron. I think Jesse was there. We had some wonderful guests again today. To close for today, the new year, the new day. It really is. Every day for us is an opportunity to become renewed. The way I have found to find the light in the darkness is honesty. Number one rule, the path to knowing is through the truth. So honesty is the number one key. And then number two for me is surrender. Because I know within me when I surrender, I know there is a true light that is. I'm going to take a chance. We're a couple hours in, but Rude Mud Crab, welcome. Are you there? Hearing none, seeing none. I'm not sure who that is, but at this point, if you want to join, I'm kind of wrapping up. So feel free to show me show the cam up in the back, so to say. The way I find the light in the darkness, sincerely, brothers and sisters, is surrender. Surrender. Stop fighting the light. Stop fighting the darkness. It's a no-win battle. The way to overcome the darkness is through the light, not alone. That's what I've learned. And I've learned that I'm never really alone when I trust that God's will is with me. It is for me. It is here. And all right. You're communicating in back. You don't use cams. What's going on, Rude Mud Crab? Are you there? If your mic volume is low, it's actually non-existent. So maybe we can just try it again next time, perhaps. Or there's all sorts of happenings. Hey, the thumbnail today, and blessings to my creator who keeps me going with this. New year, new world. Each day is an opportunity for us to become renewed, reorganized. We can regroup, refocus, and move forward. So in this new year, I do see in the future a world of peace where love rules, where we as people of the land demand, insist, and ensure that there is transparency in the governance. And through the transparency and oversight of public awareness, it's really the truth that reigns, and the truth reigning with delight would be with Christ's reign, and wars would end and nations would unite. And, anything is possible, at least when we start to believe. Jeremy, welcome, man. Not a comedian. What is that? Not sure if we've got technology issues or what's going on.
You sound all right. I'm here.
Now you're coming through. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor. I've got a little bit of a head cold right now, so I apologize for my nasally voice.
No worries. Oh, here. Yeah, Rude Mud Crab, I'm not sure. Oh, you wanted to discuss free will. Free will is a beautiful topic. What were your thoughts?
Everybody talks free will. Everybody talks about free will. I think we got it. I think there are a lot of people trying to take away your free will, but I don't know. What are your thoughts on free will, Jack?
I think people don't. I think many people have given their free will away. They don't realize
Like surrendering it. They surrender it.
Yep. They've stopped thinking for themselves and created habits of reaction, created habits of life, just going through the motions, reacting to whatever comes up. I think people have lost their, actually, my biggest thought, I believe it's by the creator's design. It makes sense. When we choose to sin and push ourselves away from the truth and the light of love, those two things, I think God allows us to go nuts.
I'd say neurotic, right? People almost go into a fight or flight mode where every little stimulus is now triggering an amygdala response. Where if they just listen to their Father in heaven, they wouldn't have to worry about all that fear, right? Instead
So,
of
Jack,
allowing or surrendering.
so I see our guest here is Jeremy. Jeremy, are you a Christian?
Yeah, I'm a Christian.
That's good to know. I think Jack is too, if I'm not mistaken.
That's what I gathered.
We all are here. You know, I was talking with Gen X Jeff earlier, and he was a Satanist. He is a Satanist. And I was trying to explain to him the
Let's talk
polarity
about that.
difference. What do you
What do you think
think, though,
Satanism?
Jack?
I don't really think Satanists. I don't think Satanists are actual Satanists. I think they're just trolls. I think they're people who were abused by religion, and they feel like they have to get back at religion for abusing them. But I don't really take Satanists seriously as Satanists. I think Satan comes in the form of politicians, world leaders, people who have real power, not a bunch of teenagers trying to piss off their parents. Satanists are just a bunch of kids trying to piss off their dad. My experience.
I think there's a combination of both, but the satanic principles are well spread throughout our society. Because what would the satanic principles be? It would be those that oppose the principles of the Christ, and the principles of the Christ are loving and sharing and, coming together with peace. So you're right. It's worldwide. The selfishness is what's
and I would say, just to touch up on your point, Nemesis, if somebody comes up on YouTube saying they're a Satanist, they're probably just trolling you. I would even take them seriously. I would say I would focus that attention towards people that are actually acting fucking satanic, like Hillary Clinton, Chuck Schumer, Adam Schiff. Those motherfuckers are Satanists.
Sorry to interrupt. I have more issue with those who call themselves Christians, and yet they run around condemning and accusing anyone and everything that comes in their way.
See, look, Jeremy, where I am with Jack is that Jack has better self-control over himself than me, and I'm trying to work on that. But I feel that Jack he's been in the war, right, Jack? And so, Jack, I know you've been in the war, but
literally a war.
He doesn't believe in the whole Illuminati stuff.
That's not true.
It's conspiracy. Yeah, I don't believe in any of that conspiracy shit.
Well, I know for a fact.
It's not that I don't believe in it. I don't waste my time with it. Sorry, go ahead, Jack.
I've actually looked into a bunch of the history of the past, and it's evident. There is clear evidence. Secret societies, whether it's the Illuminatis, the Freemasons, whether it's the Mafia, all of these little organizations with their little clique and cults, they found their way into siphoning off taxpayer dollars. And
what I mean is, you don't believe in Epstein.
What do you mean I don't believe?
Interesting.
I'm
Remember,
Yeah,
I
that's an
tried to
interesting
talk
question
about it before,
or
and you got
assumption.
very uncomfortable, and you don't like talking about it because you think
Oh, well, I'm sorry. It was, if we're thinking about the same time, it was the use of graphic words. Okay. We can talk about the topics, but we don't need to go into graphics about.
so. I would just okay.
Yeah,
So
because then we're painting a picture, right?
The Epstein list is supposed to come out tomorrow or sometime this week. They say tomorrow.
I heard something about that. I don't know the details. Why is it
Yeah.
taking so damn long? And why are those people? I mean, what in the hell
Yeah,
is
it's all
going on
bullshit.
with that? I'm sorry to interrupt.
It's
What did you?
bullshit. It's not
I don't know, but I think it's going to be released tomorrow. They were just the holidays. So here's the thing.
the
There
holidays.
is a 9,000-year-old PDF file cult out there, right? It's 9,000. This is what Alex
We're
Jones
going
said.
into this territory.
This is what Alex Jones said.
Yeah,
And
I would just say, I mean, if you don't mind, I would just go back to it being a bunch of fucking evil people. If you want to call it pedophiles and shit like that, yeah. But like Jack said, when you start bringing that word into you're painting pictures. You're tearing down the aesthetic of the conversation, and you're
Jeremy,
focusing it into some weird
Jeremy,
shit that I think it's
Thank
I
better to
know it's
generalize it
uncomfortable,
as
but I need
satanic.
you. It's reality.
Well, hold on.
I'm not saying I'm afraid of reality, dude. I'm just saying be respectful of the aesthetic of the conversations.
Yes,
Read the
I'm
room a little
trying
bit, dude.
to.
being asked.
Well, I'm not saying. I'm trying to use language carefully.
Okay. Well, here, pause for just a moment. I wanted to recognize with Aaron. I said I was shutting down, and now I guess I'm going to continue for a little bit. So I didn't mean to be rude to you guys. This stuff, Nemesis, this human trafficking, the child abuse, probable human sacrifice, some of this stuff is, from the past. It's still going around today. And a lot of this stuff, the evil and the true corruption, it may be a lot closer to home than some people realize. So that's what my eyes were open to, is the levels of sickness and corruption that are happening not only in the rooms of government and the boardrooms of shareholders. There's not only evil being conducted there, but there's a lot of evil being conducted in some of these homes in the neighborhoods. There's a lot of sick and diseased people who their parents were confused, they were beaten and taught how to fit in. Now that stuff's happening to other kids, and I think it's up to us. It's time to change this together, all of us.
Well, I think it's important that people know what the choices are in life, don't you, Jack?
Yes, people. Well, this is a twofold. It's a greater problem, because the idea of choices may exist, but if people don't know about them, if the choices are not in people's awareness in their life, they don't have those options. But this world we've been living in, it limits knowledge, it limits opportunities. Everyone's in this pattern of competition with each other, fighting for supremacy or fighting for survival. If we just find the common humanity with each other, each of us, we could pick a day. I keep thinking, I keep imagining God's going to allow this to happen, that the world is going to change in beautiful, magical ways. Because that's what nature brings. Nature brings magic. Nature brings just amazement. And I know that nature, mankind, through the natural processes of how we've developed, it makes sense. It makes sense coming from a real primitive way of being, that people would develop selfishness, and it all makes sense that the systems have become what they are. But
What
what
makes you so do you think that it's a conspiracy theory, or does it just make you very uncomfortable?
regarding the Epstein stuff.
Yeah.
No, I'm confident there have been conspiracies involved in that, and I'm grateful that there is the illusion of processes being worked. I think the future I see, we're not going to be waiting for these authorities to do their, investigations. We're going to come together, and actually in the future, we won't have people enabling the trafficking of children. We won't have people enabling the abuse of others. This world where money has power, it's bought the silence of a lot of people.
But I like to talk about. So, are you interested in why it happens? I'm like a documentary
Okay.
style. Uh, are you interested in why it happens? What are these people gaining in it? And I know it's graphic to talk about, but you could use sort of code language. However, do you know about, let's say, the adrenochrome?
Yes.
So this is a reason that they do it, and other
Okay.
reasons too.
Right. So if we know that, I think we should do something about it. Okay.
But it's important to understand the pyramid, Jack.
Okay.
Remember, we're talking about, like Aaron Apke was saying, the fourth dimension, fifth, sixth dimension.
Yeah. Well, this is here. Hold on. Let me be polite here. Welcome back, Rude.
Hey, thanks.
Hey,
Your audio is here now.
Yeah, a bit better now.
Thanks for trying it back.
Yeah, cool.
If you had some, please feel free to jump in.
Yeah, I don't have much on that topic. I was just interested in what your opinion is on things like free will. Like, personally, I don't think free will really exists at all. I don't think people make choices at all. I think they estimate, analyze, and try and figure out what the best outcome of a situation is. And then I think they go for the best outcome.
And you don't think, okay, so in determining the best outcomes, we get to choose, do we not? From the outcomes we identify?
I don't think there's a choice. I think you're presented with outcomes. You can discover outcomes, and you can discover like pathways to take.
Yeah.
But I think I think you assess outcomes, and you don't choose the best one. You do the best one, whatever the best outcome is for you and the people around you. Like, I don't think it's a choice.
I don't mean outcome, but the choice for the intention. I intend to do this, and I'm making the choice to do this because of these options. So I feel we do have here. This is an interesting and a deep question that has been discussed for a long time. The idea of free will and where that comes. And I do have my theories. I believe that if free will comes through a conscious mind. A conscious mind is one that is present, one that is aware. But what this society has done, it's taught people to live with habits and in reactive states. So they're actually bouncing back and forth between the past and the future, not really paying attention to the present. And so in those cases, when they've got the confused monkey mind, they're living in a less than conscious state. I think the free will is diminished.
I think even in a conscious state, like I can't think of, like, you don't control your wants, your desires and urges. Like, you don't have controls over those things. And those are the things
I'm sorry to interrupt, but
Yeah.
we don't choose the wants and desires that come in to us, but we certainly choose what moves us. This is what I have been practicing and paying attention to. That's where.
What are you trying to justify, Crab? Like,
I'm not trying to justify anything.
No, you're what you're doing is, what you're saying is that because there's no free will, we can do whatever we want.
No, not at all. My opinion is that things that happen to you in your past drive decisions you make in your future. So it's the things that happen that were outside of your control that are actually making the choices for your future going forwards. It's not you making the choices.
I can agree to some extent if you go to the greatest order that from God's perspective, from the creator's perspective, there's an absolute purpose and order.
I personally don't believe in God, and I'm okay with people that do, but I just giving you that so you can understand where I'm coming from, maybe.
Well, now this is even more confusing. So if you don't believe in God or free will, we're just mechanistic and results of particle movement.
Yeah, perhaps it's more of a like not deterministic. I don't believe in like destiny or things like that. I think of it more of as like a ripple, like a drop of water in the ocean. Ripple, things bounce off each other. It's more of a chaotic sort of thing.
Okay, here's where I come in, Jack. See, where you come in, you're like the lightning rod. Okay, so Crab, since you don't believe in God,
Yeah.
it's best for you to develop an ego and try to justify and to focus on accumulating as much wealth for yourself to have as much fun in this life as you can, because when you die, you're nothing. That's what you need.
Don't take it too far with that.
What?
I don't think we're nothing.
But according to you, there's no God, so money is your God.
No, not at all.
Yes.
Well, don't
No,
please.
I put very little weight in money.
No.
You did, Nemesis. I think now you're projecting, okay? But because I didn't hear him say that either. I am trying to understand.
Jack, he doesn't believe in
Well,
God. Okay.
hold on. So what? It's a word. Let's not jump to conclusion.
What's the most important thing in his life then?
Well,
my children.
Your own self pleasure. Your children need money.
No.
Money is your God. Bow down to it.
Nemesis, please.
Accept it, Jack. Tell these people to accept it.
Oh gosh.
Yield. So, in your perspective, without the creator, we're following a path of destiny, perhaps pre-designed or just the result of the past. But so, are you open to the idea of spirit?
I'm open to the idea of energy. I think everyone is, and everything is energy. Everything's made up of the same things when you break it down far enough.
Okay. So, all right.
And I think we all began at, if you believe in the Big Bang, we all began at the same place, and then you got black holes, and we're all going to end up at the same places eventually.
Potentially, it would follow a line of thought, and it makes sense. So I actually appreciate this because my view is different than others. My view on God and what this is. How does consciousness play into your... See, because free will is just simply mental activity through the mind, which is phenomenon of consciousness. So where does consciousness play into this energetic, destined path?
Well, I don't think it's destined. Like I said, I don't believe in destiny or predeterminism or anything like that. But I honestly don't know. Consciousness is an even harder topic, I think.
It is. And this is where I believe we collectively, we haven't been paying attention to that. The consciousness, our awareness is the most obvious part of the equation that hasn't really been factored into the materialistic sciences or the economic structures or governments either. The mental activity, the free will, the ability of us each to individually think and reason. It hasn't been taught. As a matter of fact, if you look at the school systems, The design of the school systems has taught children not to think. It has taught them to remember and obey. Those who have to obey, they live in obedience. They don't have to think. And that might be why you think free will has disappeared or it's non-existent.
Yeah, the dude's definitely brainwashed. I could tell
Oh,
that.
stop.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about brainwash. There seems to
Well,
be.
So your number one priority is your child, right?
Yeah, people around me. Yeah, my kids and the people
Okay,
within my
so
life.
what does your child need? Resources.
No, he
So the
needs.
priority for you is, oh, your child don't need
Right.
resources?
No, because you're taking it to the extent of
Well,
worshipping the dollar.
right.
A child doesn't need expensive and exorbitant things. They need survival. They need love. They need intelligence and care. That's all they need.
They need to be nurtured. And I honor what I'm hearing him say is what's most important is the relationships, the people.
If you worship the dollar, then you're not being a good father. You're not looking after your kids as much because you're more
What
worried
kind
about.
of relationship is he going to have with a godless heathen?
Stop jumping to these conclusions, dude. Because this word God, it has so many different perceptions and meanings. It doesn't change what a person is. And if the man is saying, hey, the most important thing to me is my kid, it sounds like he's an honorable father, at least to some aspect.
I don't doubt that a God could exist.
Yeah.
I'm not anti-religious.
Mm.
I'm pro everyone their own experience and own path. And I feel like if there is a God, I'm a good enough man and I do nice enough things and I don't do anything bad. If that's who he is, I'm good.
All right. Well, how about this? If everyone's allowed their own path, what about those whose paths cause harm to others?
Yeah.
If there's no free will, should there be no punishment?
No, there should definitely be punishment because with punishment, that guides things. Like I don't believe in free will, but I believe in what you want and what you fear is what drives your decisions. So if there's no punishment, you're taking away the fear. So they're going to be more likely to do bad things.
Okay. But if there's no free will,
with enough money, you can just hire a good enough lawyer to get you out of trouble. So once again, money is your god.
Dude, it sounds like you worship money, honestly.
It is. Nemesis, brother, you are projecting. You are. Okay?
No, Jack, once again. I'm trying to give him a choice. There's only two choices. It ain't no third gray area.
Yes, there is.
No.
Hey, there actually
there's a range.
All there is right now. And right now, without our judgment, without our labels, we are all the same. We are all part of the same forces of creation that nature has brought forth. I offered my perceptions on free will. I'm pretty confident in maybe I didn't explain it clearly, but I'm confident in what I believe about free will. I believe there is to some degree, we do have free will, but our freedom is limited by our knowledge, by our own individual awareness. And that's why each of us, it may appear we're limited in options. And I tell you what, we've got to start thinking, because the options that have been presented to us on these damn ballots over my lifetime, this is nonsense and not acceptable. This Biden, Trump, we can do better. I don't know. There I am getting political. Hey, Sine, you've been here present and patient and quiet. Welcome.
Thank you. Happy New Year, everybody.
You as well. I'm actually I was leaning at wrapping up a little while ago, but
I understand.
way again. I'll ask you guys, please return.
Yeah, I'll pop back.
So I'm here to give people. Now you can believe whatever you want to believe, but I'm here to give two choices and explain what my observation is of the truth. And I hope, Jack, you are the same way, that you will just observe around you and just tell it like it is. That's what I think this is. So my observation of the truth in the present moment is that we have someone who doesn't believe in God. I don't know what Sine believes in, but we have someone who just believes in themselves.
No, I know myself. I don't believe.
Yourself is your God, right?
Belief is an opinion without knowledge. It's like a faith. I know me. I know myself. I don't
You are your
believe
own
in money.
God. You are your
No.
own God.
How? What? Do you know what a god is? How can I be my own god?
I don't know. It's
Hey,
just
actually,
what.
here, I wanted to shut this down, but that's a good question. What is the God? What is the God?
That's a good. I mean, it's just, well, a God in the little g sense is just an idol.
Just an idol?
Like a bobblehead?
Like a
Well,
bobblehead.
what would the role of a God be? Would the God not be the one who is sovereign, one that rules, one that creates, one that brings forth, one that has order? And if we assume the role arrogantly, saying, "Oh, I got this, God, I'm going to live this without you," we can. And you get afraid and you get angry a lot, and it can be pretty miserable. But if we go the other way and we accept with responsibility, I am the creator of my life. I am the creator of my destiny. I am the creator of my feelings. That's what I work on. I mean, it's me and God, me and God, me and God. It's me, and God is like with me and all around me, everything that is. And it's me and God playing this game of life. I'm a character that has been allowed to play. And within the order, within the rules of the game, I get to live. And I found out in the game that we're playing, this game of life, it feels good to be grateful. It feels good to have faith. It feels good to have confidence. It feels good to be generous. It feels good to be kind. It feels good to forgive.
Are we supposed to be? So, are you suggesting? Are you wanting us to be honest about our emotional states, or are you trying to get us to thought project a character onto the stage that is, like, like a porcelain doll?
I think I see what you're asking, and it's a little bit of both. I'm encouraging everyone to discover who they authentically are, and find the great parts of you, the parts of you that really shine, that others admire, that you admire about yourself. And then take those attributes of you that shine and find ways to grow them. Learn how to grow and to become greater than you have been, and do it not for yourself, not for the material rewards or because so and so will be proud of you. Do this stuff because the world deserves it. The world deserves a beautiful, greater, more joyful version of you. And you deserve it. We all deserve to grow, to be forgiven, to learn. And we all deserve an opportunity to shine.
I rap for, in spite of people tell me that I should not. And they said, MC Nemesis, I think you're trash. And I say, well, I think I'm not. Then I get the big ego on me. And Andrew Tate said, develop an ego and spend the rest of your life trying to justify it. That's what he said, right?
He said
Yeah,
that.
I don't think he's a good
He's
person to really follow.
Andrew Tate said it, and he's one of the most influential people in the world.
Nemesis, brother, thank you. I'm glad. That is such a perfect example and a quote. He's a false light. He's misleading people.
That's a man whose money is his god.
Yes, exactly. And that is what the world is being influenced by, is people saying, create your ego and justify it. In other words, invent your, well, to some extent, there's a little bit of truth in there. But you don't force yourself onto the world justifying yourself. You got to accept me because this is how I am. That's what I see happening.
I think you're better off being vulnerable with yourself, finding your flaws and trying to work on those. Appreciate the good things you do.
The Nemesis was created for a reason. When I first started in the rap game, I was Aaron. YouTube is what they came against me. MC Nemesis was born, and ever since then, YouTube and I have been at war. Okay. I diss Crip, and he has over 1 million subscribers, and he responded to me, and he thought he was better than me, but I put him in the ground with my diss track. And then No Live Shaq, I exposed him. I said, you're a fake reactor.
All right.
Seeing a lot of ego,
right?
dude.
This is the story, Jack. This is the story I play.
Dude.
I involve other YouTubers and I involve other characters to get people, I expand in my universe, whether they want to be a part of it or not.
I know.
Then all these haters and all these trolls come against me. You know what I did? I made a necropolis. I killed them all with my fucking rap, and I made a bone out of the enemies.
Man,
That's what necropolis is about. And I became a badass real rappers, and that's what I published. Necropolis is a song, real rappers. I went on to inject my venom into the system, and Venom's a song.
All right.
You see that? And this is the ego that I created because YouTube put me down. YouTube destroyed me.
Hold on. This is just such a fucking perfect Marvel story. This innocent kid named Aaron comes on the heart of becoming a star and becoming a rapper. And then YouTube comes against him, brings out the nemesis.
Yeah, it's the Lex Luthor story. Dude, I think your whole ego thing is more of a shield to hide vulnerabilities. I think you're probably kind of insecure, and I don't think like being as hard-edged as you are to people who are like, there's going to be a lot of people who want to try and give you insight and try and talk to you like a human. I think it's probably better to be a bit softer about it. Like,
let me explain what happened, right? I'm no longer MC Nemesis. MC Nemesis has died. His legacy was left in the past.
Okay, sorry. I read MC Nemesis twice on the screen.
Transformation.
You said it so often.
Phoenix rising.
Right.
The Nemesis is dead.
Okay. Hey, who are you now?
The Phoenix has risen.
Who am I now?
Yeah.
I am a new
Aaron
creature.
Again?
I am a new creature.
Okay.
I almost died on the hospital bed. They brought me back to life. And then I went back to the hospital bed. They brought me back to life, said, you got type 1 diabetes. I said, okay. And that almost broke me mentally. I started drinking last year.
Yeah.
Almost ruined my life, right? I almost died.
Hey, it's a good thing you're finding your way. You're gaining strength, growing in health, and you're growing in maturity too.
And people told me, Jack, they told me, stop chasing clout. Stop using Tom McDonald's name. Tom McDonald is the reason I became a rapper. How dare you?
Yeah. I actually think there is some honest feedback and observation from Rude Mudcrab. I think it's human nature. What we do is we personify these characters of who we are. You know, these rough, tough shells on us, and we present this exterior because we're vulnerable when we're
I
honest.
wanted to tell my story of how I grew up in the South and how people were racist, and I wanted to tell my story, and they banned me from it, and people called me racist because of it.
I'm sorry.
And then I knew right then and there. I said, so I can't be me. I can't tell my story. I'm not allowed. Well, I'll develop a character that can tell the story, so Nemesis was born. But Nemesis is dead, Jack. He's gone.
All right, it's time for an evolution and a new growth.
That's what I need. Look, I want you to be a part of this evolution, Jack. That's the whole point of all this. Is because you're teaching me some valuable skills.
I appreciate.
I said in my heart that I was going to rap for Donald Trump this year, and I was going to try to spread awareness and dedicate some rap to Donald Trump because he's moved in my heart.
I'd like to talk to him too.
But after that, Jack, I just want to do a 6-track EP. What am I going to do for the album? Like, what can I give people? I'm not enough. MC Nemesis wasn't enough.
Mm-hmm.
Even though he was a great lyricist, he was a great rapper. Everybody put him down, and they killed him. They fucking killed him. And they put him down into the grave, and he fucking died.
I have
now I'm here, Jack. I am here, Jack. Do you understand? I rose from the ground. The monster from the fucking swamp that they fucking hung me by the tree and they buried me in the fucking swamp.
Hello.
The haters came and they killed the monster. Nemesis is dead, but the curse.
Just because you have a mouth doesn't mean you have to fucking use it.
Please. Okay. What I'm suggesting might be a wonderful, wonderful evolution of the old Nemesis. What if you became one of the best listeners? Can you imagine the value to be achieved from that?
Yes.
I think it could help. I think it could help us all, to be honest. But hey, I want to thank everyone for joining New Year's Day. But I do feel like shutting it down. I'm going to do my last words alone.
Sine did say he had a question for me.
Yes.
I mean, maybe for the next one, because it's not something like right at the end to throw in there.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay.
So hopefully I'll see you back.
You could jump in. Like, I normally hang out in a Discord and a VC. If you wanted to ask me there, that's fine. Unless you want to save it for stream.
Tell you what, I'm not in a rush, but I am now. I'm curious. It's up to the choice is yours,
okay.
Though. Okay?
All right.
What it did something
Appreciate
to the cat.
that, Jack. Thanks. First, let me point out something about not Nemesis, because Nemesis is dead.
Right.
Interesting that he came at Rude Mudcrab with such vitriol about worshiping money and such like that, and then a couple minutes later admits that from taking advice from
Andrew Tate.
Yeah, from Andrew Tate, who is like the personification of everything that he was just hating on. Yeah. So that leads me to think that, like, since I think we could, it's probably not a bad guess to say that he was projecting at that point a little bit, like you guys mentioned.
That's what I said.
But it leads me to think, like, if he's mad about that, but he also likes that, is he questioning his own desires that he's not even aware that he has? You know,
maybe because of his beliefs, he feels guilty about having those desires or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Insecurity about not having enough money.
Mm-hmm.
We all do that in different ways. We not all. It's very easy for us to do that. Our beliefs contradict, and so we're walking contradictions about judging others, saying, "Oh, you don't believe in God, so you worship money," but I'm actually worshiping money and claiming to worship God. That's what you were saying, right? I think.
Yeah, sort of. I mean, for such a seemingly simple guy, he's kind of a complicated projector.
People are. Nemesis, I like the guy. He seems like a nice enough kid. I know he's got a reputation and he says things that are not appropriate. Many times he says things that are not appropriate.
Yeah.
But I genuinely see him and many others authentically trying to grow, trying to learn, trying to find answers, even though sometimes the answers are right there.
A lot of people are more worried about the image they project than they are about looking inward and actually changing who they are to be the person that they project.
I did that for a lot of years and I didn't realize that's what I was doing. I was so worried that people knew, oh God, people gonna know that I've got a drinking problem. Yeah, no shit, dumbass, because you're drunk every day. But I was worried about what people thought. And I'm sorry, I totally turned that. Go ahead, back to you guys.
No. I wanted to touch real quick. When I first showed up, I asked you a question in chat, like, what is it really that keeps you here in Panelverse? Because it seems to me, and this is just an observation, not a judgment or anything, and it's just from my brief knowing of who you are from listening to your streams and stuff like that. But it seems like the toxicity that's present in this community is not quite, maybe, I don't know. I'm not going to go ahead and say what you need for your own life or whatever, but it would seem to me that a more positive atmosphere might be more beneficial to who you are. But then, as the stream progressed and I was listening, and I was thinking about that. I'm like, okay, well, I could ask myself the same question. What am I doing here? I could definitely use a positive atmosphere, and I could do away with all toxicity and negativity, and I would never look back, honestly. And that's despite my I do like argumentation a little bit. I like challenging beliefs. I challenge my own as often as I can. But so I was asked myself, what am I doing here? It's like, okay, well, maybe if I can answer that question, I could answer what I asked of Jack, and it's really. Oh, you can go ahead.
I haven't watched Jack a heap. I put him on every now and then, but my opinion would be that Jack sees things for what they are generally. Like, hurt people, and he probably gets more fulfillment and more enjoyment from a 20-minute discussion with someone like that, and giving them a little bit of relief or enjoyment, than going and being somewhere where it's just relaxing and mellow and just boring.
It's actually true. There is some egoic part of me, though. Admittedly, my life, I was a union rep. I mean, that was the way I saw my job. Was they paid me to argue, paid me to yell at people. So it's been challenging for me to walk away, and there has been the appearance of toxicity. There's been a lot of illogical choices being made and a lot of just ridiculous things being said. But I think Rude Mudcrab might have hit on it, if I'm honest. I do find a little bit of fulfillment if someone, on those occasions where instead of me flipping and getting angry, where I can help someone maybe calm down or change their own mood. It does bring a fulfillment.
Okay, well, when I was thinking about that, and presenting the question to myself, I realized that I was kind of putting my own values into the question itself. And that's something people do a lot, and it's kind of, it can just really muddy the waters, because it's like what Nemesis did with Rude Mudcrab, assuming his values, or transposing them onto him just because he said one thing. That's not going to get you anywhere in a conversation. So it'd probably be more polite to at least try to establish, if you don't know already, what their values or motivations for something are, and limit yourself from doing that transposition before you and especially if you're gonna carry any judgment into the query, like why are you doing this, even, it doesn't make any sense to me. Well, it doesn't make any sense to me isn't a good argument. So try to understand where the person is coming from, and that can only come through authentic questioning.
That's, brother, you said it. You said the key. To avoid jumping to conclusions, to break my own patterns of assuming, I intentionally reminded myself, stay curious, and it would remind me, okay, ask enough questions so you have a clear picture and don't always assume the worst of others. And it helps to stay curious. So, and you asked a valid question of me, and your observations were accurate. Nothing wrong with anything there. I'm curious, and I love that you pursued that. I asked it outside. What's the answer for myself? What did you come up with?
Well, I thought about it, and my motivations really with them, even in toxic or semi-toxic environments, is that I can learn. I learn a lot about people by what they say. You can learn a lot actually by very little, and the more people talk, the more you can learn. They reveal about themselves a lot, even just in the way that they talk, the types of responses that they have. It says a lot about who they are. And by learning about others, I can get insight into myself, because
yes,
I'm always kind of like I'm gonna process what they're saying, and normally I'm pretty skeptical kind of a person, so I'm usually challenging the idea in my head, work it through, and then I'll find out either that I was wrong because I have a new understanding in who they are and what they're saying, or I'm just get firmer into my own position. I'm not sure, but listening to people, you learn about yourself, and I'm always on a mission to learn. I don't know about myself more. I explore all kinds of different ways. I don't know if it's I don't know if that's ego or pride or what that is. I think it's kind of paradoxical.
I think it's our purpose to seek the answers, to learn more about who we are. And I love what you said. The best way to learn who we are is through others. And I don't know. Hey, I am ready to wrap this up. I hope gentlemen will return. I've enjoyed your conversations.
Yeah, thank you.
Nice talking to you, Jack. Good meeting you.
Well. God bless.
See you again. Bye.
Peace. All right. To both of you, God bless. Thank you to all who joined, sincerely. And I love these conversations we had at the end there. Those are really the messages that I'm hoping to share is that's what I've been learning. The value of learning thyself. That's who we are. We are within us. I'll get into this again in the future because I've been putting some thoughts together on this. Recognizing the wholeness and the completeness of who we are. We are the totality of all things in one, just as the universe is the totality of all things in one. And within us, beyond just the physical essence and the chemical and the electrical essence of us, the biology, beyond that, there is the intellectual, the mental, the spiritual, the thoughts and intentions, the desires and wishes. And it's the mind and the heart that is truly who we are. Within us, though, there's two beings. And the key is to find the balance within the two beings, the balance of the masculine, feminine, the balance between the past and the future here in the present. And then there's also the balance of realizing I am the form, yet I am not limited to the form. I am the form, I'm not limited by the form. Within us, there is the spirit, the essence of truth that is ever expansive, and it is the knower within us, the knowing. But then there's the physical form, the ego, the structures that originate from the world, the mind belief that I am the form and I am the name and I am the title. So within me, within you is the spirit of truth and the essence of love that moves and brings us forth. And the other side of that is the ego, the one that has the limits, the one that has the fears, the one that thinks it knows. And when the ego thinks it knows, well, that arrogance will bring the idea of a lot of fears and a lot of hate, a lot of opinions. But this thinking it knows should not replace the true essence of the knower. And the true essence of the knower is who you are, because no one can know you like you, and no one can be you like you. And this is our turn, our time. This is our time for the world to discover who you are, who I am, and what it is that the past is bringing us forth to experience. Happy New Year's, sincerely. Congratulations to all of us making it around the sun again, or making it through a calendar, whatever perspective you want to look at. Congratulations on making it through the past. And I look forward to what the future brings for us all. Till next time, sincerely, thank you. Thank you all. Choose love, peace for everyone, and live without fear.